Welcome. Come on in, take a seat, get your snacks, because today we're predicting Manchester United's new manager come July 2026. Obviously, we'll be discussing all the names involved. Obviously, Michael Carrick at the interim head coach role right now. The top names involved: Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, Carlo Ancelotti, Thomas Tuchel. What's happened there, man? What's happened in the last 48 hours? We'll obviously be discussing De Zerbi, Pochettino, Marco Silva, Glasner. Are they an option? Let's get straight into it. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family, man. But yeah, let's get straight into who I think, will become the next Manchester United manager come July 2026. And let's start off at who is the manager right now? Sir Michael Carrick. 5 games unbeaten. Michael Carrick. Will he be an option as a permanent head coach role? I certainly think so. For me, he is not my favourite option, but he is up there as a bookie's favourite right now. It's what everyone's talking about. Is he going to get that internal promotion from Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Jim Ratcliffe likes his Englishmen by the looks of his comments over the last 48 hours. He ticks the box that he's an Englishman. No immigrants allowed to his Ratcliffe. But no, on a serious level, man, Sir Michael Carrick, I'm a big fan of what's going on here. I'm locked into this. I'm genuinely locked into what Carrick is building here right now. He's got Bruno Fernandes playing some of the best football we've ever seen. He's really, gotten some of the players in the squad. You could tell he's put an arm over the shoulder. Dalot looks a different player. Even Luke Shaw had a tremendous few games before his big mistake at the West Ham stadium the other day. So I think Carrick has a big chance of getting this job on a permanent basis. If he continues with what he's doing, Sir Michael Carrick, if he gets third, how can Omar Barreda, how can Christopher Vivell, how can Sir Jim Ratcliffe, how can you guys say, no, we're not giving you the job after he gets third? From where Manchester United were when we sacked Ruben Haramarim, that haram individual, when we sacked him, look where United were, man. And now look where we are. Sir Michael Carrick, 5 games unbeaten. For me, sorry, we've got a bit of a cough, but for me, he is, in my prediction scale, he is number 1. As in, I think it's more realistic. It's a cheaper option. We have the brokest, the most stingiest ownership of all time in not just the Glazers, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe, all the redundancies he's made since he's joined the club, since he's obviously taken part ownership along with the Glazers of the club. So I think from a financial standpoint, when you look at the historical, choices of Ratcliffe and Glazers, it makes sense that they go with Michael Carrick as an internal option. But let's get into the other names that obviously you might have seen if you follow me on X, is that I posted exclusive news that Manchester United and Luis Enrique are in early discussions. However, this is the most important part of that news, is that Luis Enrique's representatives are the ones that initiated the conversation. So is it a ploy? Is it a ploy to maybe, make the Paris executives, make the PSG executives, give him a better increase in terms of salary on the new offer? Because we do know they're locked in conversations right now. They are, they are at it over there in Paris in terms of Luis Enrique's contract talks. He is involved in some contract talks. Is it a ploy? Are his representatives trying to get him to, get a higher package over there in PSG? Does he actually want to leave? But the good news is that Manchester United are in discussions with Luis Enrique. For me, clearly the favourite option, Manchester United's manager. Luis Enrique, for his work he's done at PSG, for the treble winning season he had at Barcelona, for even his work in the Spain national team, how he, yanked all the old heads out, how he got the youth involved, the Lamine Yamals, how he got all the youth players involved in that Spanish team, and now how it's paying off. You see Spain, after he left, they go and win the Euros, they go on to the Nations League final. Obviously they get dominated and stopped by none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. You're not stopping Cristiano Ronaldo, let's face the facts there. But his body of work in that Spain national team is out of this world. It has set him up for years to come, and we're seeing it now. They're one of the favourites for the World Cup, but his work obviously with PSG last year, winning the Champions League, dominating world football with PSG, removing Mbappe. We all seen that clip of him, expressing how he can be the Michael Jordan of his team. But yeah, he needs to work. He needs to have that work rate. He needs to demand not only of himself, but of his players. That obviously didn't work out. Kylian Mbappe is still an unstoppable player, but what Luis Enrique did for him to, remove Mbappe from that situation and still go on and dominate European football, unreal. My favourite choice by far. My favourite choice was Don Carlo Ancelotti, because imagine this. Imagine this eyebrow on the Old Trafford touchline. Aura personified Carlo Ancelotti. But yeah, right now, as we know, he's about to put pen to paper on a Brazil contract. Thomas Tuchel has already done that. He signed a contract until 2028. And for me, he wasn't my preferred option anyway. Hasn't won the Premier League, so Thomas Tuchel wasn't my preferred option. So good luck to him and England in the World Cup. But I'm glad he's not in the running right now. Carlo Ancelotti, I'm heartbroken over, man. Don Carlo Ancelotti, the eyebrow raising, trailblazing. I would have loved it. But yeah, right now my favourite option, I would love them to get Luis Enrique. I initially wanted them to get Luis Enrique when Ronaldo was at the club and we actually sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We went down the stupid Ralf Rangnick interim route and Erik ten Hag, but Luis Enrique was right there, man. He was looking at us, he was flirting with us, but we didn't take the option. So if the news that I've brought out is serious, and if his representatives are not playing, contract games here with PSG and trying to get Manchester United's names involved, I think, we have to give him his wages that he demands, give him what he wants, get Vitinha with him. It's a dream come true if that happens. That's a big managerial signing. But will it work in the Ineos era? Will it work with the regime that we've got set up right now? And will it work with a disgusting owner in Jim Ratcliffe? We've heard his comments over the last few hours. But let's go into other names. So for me, if we're doing a predictability scale on, let's say, let's talk 6 names: Carrick, Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann. Let's throw in Pochettino, De Zerbi, and let's throw in an outsider like Oliver Glasner in there, yeah? Because some people, some journalists have put the name that Oliver Glasner could be an option. Let's predict on the basis of those 6 individuals. For me, Michael Carrick is the favourite option. 1, because it's cheaper, like I've already said. But for me, my favourite will be Luis Enrique. But I think he sits at 3rd position right now. I think if it's not a ploy, the way his representatives have reached out to United, then I think, who knows? But for me, I would love Carrick to come in. I would love Enrique to come in. We need to touch on Julian Nagelsmann, because Christopher Vivell, that relationship between Vivell and Julian Nagelsmann is very key in what happens over the next few months. Because if I know, and I can tell you now, Vivell wants Nagelsmann at Manchester United. His contract with the German national team ends in July 2026. The pieces just fall into the lap of Manchester United right now. Vivell, do your job and convince both Ratcliffe, the board, the executives, to get Julian Nagelsmann in, and Nagelsmann will be a Manchester United manager. It makes sense. So for that reason, and why Vivell and Nagelsmann, that relationship is key. His body of work in Germany, what he did at Leipzig, his relationship with Vivell is key here. Can Vivell now persuade, the executives to get Nagelsmann on board? I think he can. So which is why I believe he's number 2 on my prediction scale. I've got Carrick at number 1, Nagelsmann at number 2, Enrique at number 3. And Nagelsmann, he's done tremendous work in Germany with Bayern Munich. Obviously his spell, he's started off at Hoffenheim, Leipzig, Bayern Munich, and now the German national team. Not doing so well with the German national team, but I think they're in a period of transition. But we see his 4-2-3-1. We see his false wingers kind of playing on the width of his systems. We see his high pressing, his adaptability during games. So he could be a key name as we go over the next few months. But I think for me, he is a big favourite only because of the relationship he has with Christopher Vivell. And when it comes to work, when it comes to career, it's who you know what and not what you know. So let's see what happens there. But I wanted to touch on a few other names as well. Pochettino, I personally don't think Pochettino happens. I think he's been outside of the limelight right now in terms of the Premier League for a while. He's over in the US. And I think if he does well in the US in terms of the World Cup, I think he'll want to stay. I think he's building a great project there, and obviously the World Cup happening. I think he won't want to distract himself with having discussions and interviews with Manchester United. So I think Pochettino for me probably sits at fifth. I will personally put. I would personally put. Who did we say we was going to De Zerbi? Sorry, went completely blank there. I was going to put De Zerbi higher up in fourth, and that's because he's available. He's available. You ain't got to pay Marseille anything. He's available. We know he had discussions with Manchester United's executives during the troubles with Ruben Amorim. We know he has favoured individuals at Manchester United that love him, that support him. We know Manchester United executives would prefer someone with Premier League proven experience. So for me, he sits at fourth in the predictability scales. Because we haven't really seen much news come out in terms of De Zerbi, and we have news coming out of France right now that possibly De Zerbi wants a break from managerial football, and it aligns perfectly. Have your break for the next 3-4 months and come manage Manchester United. So for me, he sits at fourth. I think he's a big personality. We've seen the clash that he had with Marseille's owners and the board over there. Can he work with the Ineos regime? Will he get the budget he wants? Will he get the signings he wants? Because he is very, vocal on who he needs. He signed Greenwood. He signed the Arsenal boy, I believe Enwari. I don't know how you say his name, but yeah, he signed him over just a couple of weeks ago in the January window. He signed Aubameyang, so he gets his players, but he just fell short of PSG, and it's not his fault. You're dealing with the riches of PSG. You can't compete. But I think he's done very well so far in Marseille. Obviously, fell out with the board, lost 5-0 to PSG, and was given the see you later. So De Zerbi is available. So he sits fourth, fifth for me Pochettino, and sixth for me Oliver Glasner. I think his name was in the mix prior to his failures right now. He's currently failing at Palace. And how can you become a Manchester United manager was failing at Crystal Palace? It doesn't make sense. He's fallen out with the guys above him. Parrish, this Crystal Palace owner, he's completely fallen out with him over the handling of Mark Gahey's deal, and obviously Mateta's failed transfer with AC Milan. You can tell there's some discrepancies between him and the ownership there at Palace. So will it work at Ineos? But he has got that Premier League proven experience. I don't know. I personally think he's an outsider in this whole process. I'm not a big fan of him personally. For me, my favourite option is Luis Enrique. My realistic choice, who I think Manchester United go for, I think Michael Carrick. If he gets Manchester United top 4, if he gets them the 3rd position, you cannot say no to him. So I think Michael Carrick is, in terms of prediction, I think he's my favoured option. He's my number 1 choice, as my prediction. So Carrick, Julian Nagelsmann because of his relationship. Luis Enrique is my favourite option at number 3. De Zerbi at number 4. Pochettino at number 5. And Glasner at number 6. Let me know what you guys think, obviously. Over on X, my handle is Zeeshan Season. That's SZN at the end. And obviously let me know in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your family, do all of that good stuff for me. I'll see you guys over on the next video. Take care.